Fear is one of the biggest barriers to understanding God. Not because fear is always loud, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it hides behind wisdom, caution, or common sense. But underneath it, fear does one main thing. It makes you interpret everything through self-protection instead of truth. And once fear becomes the filter, you don't just feel wrong, you start seeing God wrong. Go back to Eden for a second. The first thing humanity felt after believing a lie about God wasn't anger, it wasn't rebellion, it was fear. They ate the fruit, their eyes opened, and immediately they felt exposed. And what did fear produce? Hiding, confusion, distance, mistrust. And that same pattern is still running in human hearts today. Because fear doesn't just make you afraid of danger, fear makes you afraid of God. It whispers things like, God is disappointed in you. God is going to punish you. God can't really love someone like you. If you get close to God, you'll lose control. If you surrender, you'll get hurt. And once those lies take root, you start misreading everything. Correction feels like rejection. Conviction feels like condemnation. Silence feels like abandonment. Delay feels like denial. That's fear-based misunderstanding. And you can see it even in the disciples' people who literally walked with Yeshua. Remember the scene, the storm, the waves, the darkness, and Yeshua comes walking on water. This should have been a moment of awe, but what did they think? It's a ghost. Fear distorted their perception. Same event, different interpretation. Not because the moment was unclear, but because fear hijacked their meaning-making. That's what fear does. Fear turns mystery into threat. Fear turns the unknown into danger. Fear turns God's power into something you suspect instead of trust. And fear also narrows the mind. When fear is active, your brain becomes survival-focused. You stop thinking in wide, eternal categories, and you start thinking in small, immediate ones. How do I protect myself? How do I avoid pain? How do I stay in control? But the kingdom doesn't run on control, it runs on trust. That's why fear is so spiritually toxic. It blocks intimacy, it blocks clarity, it blocks growth. And here's the most important line in this whole video. Yeshua came to break that cycle, not just by teaching better ideas, but by revealing what God is actually like. He shows a father who runs toward prodigals, a shepherd who searches for the lost, a king who serves, a Messiah who doesn't crush bruised reeds. In other words, he came to rebuild trust where fear destroyed it. Because when fear loosens its grip, the mind becomes clear. And when the mind is clear, truth becomes visible. So here's the takeaway question. When you think about God, what rises first, fear or trust? Because whatever rises first is probably the lens you've been living through. And in the next video, we're going to talk about the final key, the restoration of trust in God, what it looks like, how it's rebuilt, and why it changes everything about how you hear.